If you walk through my front door right now, friend, you would think you were at a pizzeria. My goodness. We have, this is huge. This is a massive pizza. It's cooled down now, so I can feel like I can pick it up. This is a homemade pizza crust. We are taking a look at whether or not you should make your own pizza dough, or should you just get it from the store, whether it's in the tube, in a bag, kind of already prepared, just needs to be rolled out and have the toppings put on. There's also the kind in the like bread aisle that's already like pre-cooked and packaged up. There's lots of different pizza dough options in the store, so it's gonna be a little hard to compete with that. But in this video, I'm gonna break the ingredient cost down for you. I'm gonna show you how to make homemade pizza dough in the bread machine, and we are then going to compare and see if it's worth it to make your own pizza dough, or should you just keep buying the store-bought options. Okay, let's get to it. Ingredient and cost breakdown for store-bought pizza dough versus a homemade pizza dough. This is gonna be a bread machine pizza dough. I have made pizza dough by hand with my elbow grease, but bread machine for me. So that's the comparison I'm gonna do today. So these are some pizza doughs that I grabbed from Trader Joe's because my one friend swears by them. So $1.69 for the garlic and herb, $1.69 for the plain. That is a gluten-free pizza dough, which is very handy. These are all fresh, need to be refrigerated, but you can also freeze them if you're not going to use them right away. The gluten-free one is $3.99 for 16 ounces. There is another brand that is sold at my other regular grocery store that is $8.30 for 14 ounces. So we're gonna go with Trader Joe's winning the price war on that one. There are a couple other prices for store-bought at my other store. $2.58 for regular plain dough frozen, $3.79 for the tube of dough. I'm gonna go with this fresh dough is gonna end up with a better result. Anyways, $3.40 for a pre-made one similar to this, so double the price. And another option, or $3.40 is if it's like pre-made in the pantry staple aisle, like on the bread aisle where it's already pre-cooked and ready to just add toppings and warm up. That is $3.41. And then there's $4.66 for a fresh dough. That's double the price of this one from Trader Joe's. Roughly the same size. Okay, homemade price breakdown. Yeast is currently 65 cents for one of these packets. Of course, getting a jar would be cheaper buying in bulk. And if you are baking a lot, making a lot of doughs, definitely get the jar. You can store it in your freezer. That's what I have always done. The flour and the salt, the sugar, and the olive oil and the Italian seasoning, I'm gonna go with $1.25. So this puts this at almost $2. And we're gonna get a larger pizza dough out of this. Let's get to preparing this homemade dough. And then after this dough is ready, we will bake all of these and I will share my final opinion and comparison here in a little bit. Here is the bread machine setup. If you've never done dough in a bread machine, highly recommend. It's actually what I use my bread machine for the most, is making dough. So I'm gonna give you the full breakdown here. This will be a little quick mini tutorial on dough in a bread machine. So you need your little kneader paddle. I'm sure it has an official name, but that's what I call it. And also it needs to be facing up as you load in the ingredients. Okay, so this is a cup of lukewarm water. It's gonna go in first. You want the water in first and all the dry ingredients on top, and then we're gonna make a little well for the yeast at the very top. Okay, this needs to be lukewarm so that it will activate the yeast. That's just warm to the touch. So not cold, not piping hot where you're like, oh, don't touch that water. Lukewarm, right in the middle. Next, I am going to add the olive oil and the salt. So 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of salt. That's going into the water. Next, we are gonna add the flour. Okay, I am using a bread flour. The reason I'm using a bread flour is because I like the consistency that it gives to the dough. Now, when I add this here, I usually kind of tap it against the side so it doesn't plop and like the water and the oil comes out. So we do need this to cover the water, okay? So you kind of have to do a little sprinkling with the last cup, at least that's what I do. And you need to keep an eye on your paddle. My paddle fell. Let me lift him back up. And I'm gonna actually put the flour on this side of the paddle so that doesn't happen again. I'm glad I noticed that. Here we go. I will show you what this looks like here in a second. Okay, back to the bread flour. I am using the bread flour because it has a higher protein concentration and it just makes for the best dough. Okay, so that's why. You can use all-purpose. It's just gonna be slightly different consistency. I'm gonna just go ahead and keep this rolling and show you. So you can see that there's a little bit of water that's snuck in. So what I'm gonna do is just use that same knife and just do this. We don't want the yeast coming in contact with the water until it's all started to knead together, okay? Just trust the machine. Also, if your bread machine has other directions, follow those directions. Okay, next is gonna be a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I want a little herb in here. I'm just gonna sprinkle that on top. Next is going to be a teaspoon of sugar because the yeast needs something to snack on. And then last is going to be the packet of yeast. I'm gonna just make a little tiny section right here on this taller area. This is gonna be my little yeast well. Okay, so we don't want the yeast touching the water, but we also want it to be kind of together. And it will get distributed as the kneading paddle moves around. It will be properly distributed. I'm gonna let the machine do what it does best, and that is make pizza dough. Okay, I'm gonna reposition here. Okay, so this is one packet. If you're using a jar, it's 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, or whatever your jar says, right? This is the rapid. Yours might just be regular active. That's fine. I'm gonna just gently just pinch out what's trying to stick to the sides in there, gently. Okay, that's good. Here we go. This is also a part you need to be somewhat cautious about. Again, we don't want the water to kind of like pop up, if you will. So I'm going to gently lock this in place, okay? You do have to lock it. So I usually just get it lined up and then pop it down. Come on. Ooh, okay. And no water overflow spillage. This is gonna be a dough cycle. So that's, in my case, in my machine, it's number 11. Follow the directions of your machine, get it going, and in an hour and a half from now, that's how long the dough cycle is for this machine. I will come back. We will do I'll get the dough rolled out and onto cookie sheets, both this one as well as the other ones from the store that I have, so that we can do a comparison after the crust has baked. Okay, let me turn this on and I'll be back in a little while for that for getting the dough ready and the comparison. The bread machine is finished, and about halfway through I had like a panic. This has happened to me a handful of times over the years where like the yeast doesn't work, but it worked. Look at this beautiful pile of dough. Oh, it's magical. Okay, so I am going to do the homemade dough first. I'm gonna try and see, I don't think I can do them all at the same time. This mat's pretty big, but I don't think it's big enough. So I'm just gonna flip it over, hold this down, shake it out, and then I gotta find the kneading paddle. It's actually right there. All right, so we're gonna fish this out, and I am going to, it's a little bit sticky on the bottom, so I'm gonna pull up a little bit of that flour and just knead that in. It's usually stickier on the bottom, and then it's just that nice baby soft on top. Okay, I'm gonna grab my rolling pin. Okay, somebody can send me a new rolling pin. Actually, I think I have a bigger one, but I think it's in the pantry, but I'm just gonna use this one. I've always only used this tiny guy. Okay, I'm gonna just spin this. Oh, you should come and do this, son. Get my pizza dough ready. Ryan's right here. He used to work at and manage a pizza place locally. This should be 16 inches if I can get it to roll out. Am I doing this wrong? He's gonna come over here and critique me. You're better at this than I am, I'm sure, with how many pizza do you think you rolled out over the years? How many?
Thousands.
Thousands? Yeah, probably. Literally thousands. This is a thicker crust though. They worked with like Napolitan, which is that thinner crust. See, it's getting really, this is really, I'm doing this basically, one, because we're eating pizza for dinner tonight. And two, because I want to show you the size comparison versus these little store-bought doughs. I don't mind if there's a little lip on the edge. That's pretty typical with a pizza dough. This is making me very hungry. I'm gonna move this on too. Oh, come on now. Hello, come with me. Oh, that was stickier than I thought it was gonna be. I'm actually gonna just transfer it to the baking sheet. I am gonna bake it. I might even make this end up being more of a rectangular shape just because of the, I should get out my pizza stone. That would have been a better choice. That's okay, I'll just make this rectangle-ish. Okay, we're gonna let that sit before we add the sauce and whatnot so I can put these guys together. Let's grab some more flour. Has a little more herbs, it looks like, and of course garlic, which I did not add. I would do garlic powder before I would do little chunks of garlic. I'm just gonna do the same thing, get the sticky spots to pick up some flour. And this one bakes in 10 minutes. That larger one will probably bake in about, I would say 15, maybe 16 minutes with a thin layer of pizza sauce, cheese, and pepperoni. Actually, I should do this first. I should have Ryan come in here and do this. I think he's working out. Working out, then a little summer school work, then a little actual work. That really wants to turn over, doesn't it? Okay, I'll turn you over. Sometimes the dough has a mind of its own and it wants to do what it wants to do. This is why I need a bigger rolling pin. I know I have one, it's not like in this part of my kitchen. I think I know where it is. I'm not gonna get it right now. Can you hear it popping? I heard a couple pops. There's a bubble right there. That one didn't pop. Okay, this dough is actually a little harder to work with. It's not fully to room temperature, but it's still pretty warm. Maybe that's why it's having a little harder time, but you can see that it's significantly smaller. So we went over the price breakdown, and now I'm doing this to show you the size difference. Gosh, I usually can get these in a pretty good circular shape. This guy, so maybe it'll be easier once he warms up a little bit. He's almost there. We're just gonna have funky shaped pizza for dinner tonight, I guess. This one is ready to go. I will reshape him on the cookie sheet. Come on now, don't do that. I work so hard, don't do that. I'm on their baking mat for now. This last one, this is the plain dough. This is much stickier than either of the two we've already done, so not too much. You just need a little pinch full of the flour. This one's still a little cold, but hopefully this guy will roll out a little easier. Stretch. And then I'm leaving the gluten-free dough for last. I'm gonna have to get a different mat out to roll that one out because obviously this is regular flour I'm using here, so I don't want to cross-contaminate, if you will. You just stretch it out, stretch it out, stretch it out, stretch it out, stretch it out until it's time to load it up. So this one is much smaller, as you can tell. This we're gonna transfer, roll out lightly again, and then these are ready to be dressed for baking. Is that what we call it? Dressing pizza? Like when we add the toppings and whatnot? I don't know, I just made that up. Okay, this dough, I'm gonna do olive oil, not flour. I think I said flour earlier because I was in the flour mode. My rolling pin is clean. I'm also gonna do it in 2 or possibly 3 parts, depending on how this rolls out. Probably looking like 2 if I can keep this section together. I want it to get fairly thin. This is almost like a pie crust, if you will. That's kind of what it feels. That's kind of what the dough feels like. Okay, I think I might need a little bit more oil. Push him all the way over to the corner. I'm just gonna do the same thing, so I'll be right back. Gluten-free dough is always a little different, whether it's cookie dough, in this case pizza dough, so just know that it's not gonna behave quite the same as a regular all-purpose flour. Next is going to be all of the sauce and pepperoni and cheese and whatnot. I will put the homemade pizza sauce, is it worth it, video in the description below. This is actually the homemade marinara. I just happen to have it, and I don't need to make another sauce because this will do just fine. If you're dipping back in like this and you do have a gluten issue, make sure that you do your gluten first, or you use a second, or you don't like touch the dough. Like, don't do that and get flour all over your spoon and then get flour in here. That's a thing that some people have to think about, so there you go. All right, I'm gonna finish these up and then we'll be back with a little taste test and final comparison. Okay, at this point, I think we're qualified to open as a pizza shop. It smells amazing. And here we go. Homemade dough, Trader Joe's plain, Trader Joe's garlic, gluten-free. In the oven they go, 8 to 15 minutes depending on the dough, and we'll be back to compare in a bit. Okay, welcome back to Chase Pizzeria. Here's the homemade dough. It's massive, and this is really, these slices are gonna be so thick and so delicious. This is the gluten-free, this is the store-bought garlic and herb, and then right over here is the store-bought regular plain no herb dough. So there we have it. Dollar for dollar, it was pretty similar. There was quite a range of like the store-bought options, but the fresh dough was the one I chose because I wanted it to be the closest to this one. So these 2 pre-made doughs from Trader Joe's are so inexpensive. They're $1.69. And even if you did, I would say 2 of these equals 1 of these. I should have rolled this out a little thinner or split it onto 2, which is fine. I didn't, so we're just gonna have this really thick dough. So 2 of these is about the same as 1 of these. So that would be $3.40 for 2 of these equivalent. And of course there were the different price breakdowns that I shared earlier. And then for this one, we had the flour about $1, the yeast 65 cents. The other couple of mix-ins will give it another 35 cents to round it out to $2. Yikes, pretty inexpensive. So I say if you have a bread machine and you can plan your day appropriately, or you just know you're always doing pizza on Fridays and you can, get the pizza dough going in the afternoon so that you can put it in the oven for dinner, definitely homemade is the way to go. You can also experiment with the different, if you don't want to do Italian seasoning, you want to do a little garlic and onion, you can just mix and match kind of what you add into the dough however you like it, or you can just go with the plain dough, no herbs at all. That also works just as well. So if you have a bread machine, highly recommend this. If you have a whole lot of time on your hands and you love to make it from scratch, you can do that. I didn't break all that down for you here, but that is an option. But this, using your bread machine, is kind of like the ultimate dough bread hack. So there you have it, gluten-free. I think is going to be cheaper, easier to just buy either a frozen crust or a crust like this and just make it that way. Also, the warehouse store has really inexpensive gluten-free pre-made frozen pizzas you just pop in the oven. So I think on the gluten-free front, that's probably the easiest option. But if you're feeding a crowd and you can schedule it into your day correctly, doing this homemade dough is going to, 1, go a long way, and 2, make everybody in your house happy because it's so delicious. So there is the comparison and my opinion on whether or not you should use store-bought dough or make your own pizza dough. There it is. Homemade if you have a bread machine. If you don't have a bread machine, keep grabbing the dough from the store, either fresh in a tube, frozen from the bread aisle, wherever you're getting it. It's certainly a convenient way to do it, but if you want to have a little more fun with any flavors or mix-ins, or you just need to feed a lot of humans, a homemade dough is gonna give you more for the amount that you would spend on a pre-made dough. If you learned something new, if you have a bread machine collecting dust somewhere and you wanna get it out and make this homemade pizza dough, give me a thumbs up. Your likes helps YouTube know that you found this video helpful, and also tells YouTube that other people need to see this video. So I appreciate that. Also subscribe. We're releasing new videos every single week. We've been on a roll the last couple of months with no plans of stopping. So please hit that subscribe button so you get notified when we release new videos, both in this Is It Really Worth It series, as well as other budget cooking hacks, tutorials, freezer cooking sessions, and all of that we have here on the channel. All right, my friends, it's bye for now, and I'll see you in the next episode.